In January, in a country genuinely obsessive about insulation, Germans open every window in the flat as wide as it will go. On purpose. Not a crack. Wide. For 5 minutes, twice a day, with the heating on. It looks like the most wasteful thing a careful nation could possibly do, and it is very close to the opposite. Here is what it is actually for, and 9 other things Germans do at home that make no sense at all until they do. One thing first, because the internet is confidently wrong about this. German energy is not cheap. It is among the most expensive in Europe. Germans are not warm because heat is cheap. They are warm because a house is treated as a system with rules, and then the rules get followed. 10 of them, starting with the windows. It is called Stoßlüften, shock ventilation. Windows fully open, opposite sides of the flat if you can manage it. 5 minutes, then shut. The point is not the heat, it is the water. A household breathes and washes and cooks several liters of water into the air every day, and warm air holds it while cold air does not. Crack a window for an hour, and you chill the walls without clearing the damp. 5 minutes wide open dumps the wet air while the walls stay warm, and warm, dry air reheats fast. Everyone else solves this by buying a dehumidifier and never opening a window again. At dusk, an entire German street goes dark at once as the Rollläden come down. Solid external shutters, sitting outside the glass in their own housing above the window. Outside is the important word. A curtain traps cold air after it is already in the room. A shutter stops it at the glass, adds a sealed pocket of still air, and takes the wind off the pane. It also makes a bedroom black enough to sleep in at 10 in the morning, which Germans regard as a basic civil right. Every internal door in a German home is closed. Not to be unfriendly. A German house is not one temperature. It is 5 or 6 rooms, each running its own climate, and an open door is a leak between them. Heat the living room properly and let the hallway sit cold, and you are paying for the room you are actually in rather than for the volume of the building. Leave the door open, and you have installed an expensive draft. The bedroom is cold, deliberately. A thick duvet, a radiator turned well down, and in a lot of houses, a window left on tilt all night. This is not only thrift. A cooler room genuinely helps you fall asleep because your body has to drop its core temperature to do it. Guests from warmer countries tend to read the German guest bedroom as a message. It is not a message. Every autumn, there is a small ritual. The little radiator key, a cloth, the valve at the top, and the hiss of trapped air coming out. Air in a radiator means the top of it stays cold, while you pay to heat the bottom. It takes about 4 minutes, and most people outside Germany have never done it once. Germans do it before the season starts, on the grounds that doing it in February means you have already wasted a month. German radiator thermostats are numbered 1 to 5, not degrees, numbers. Roughly speaking, 3 is about 20 degrees, and each step is a few degrees more, but nothing anywhere on the device says so. So an otherwise extremely precise country improvises. Ask 5 Germans what setting 3 means, and you will get 5 confident and completely incompatible answers. It is the least German object in Germany. A lot of German homes have a hygrometer on the wall, a small dial reading humidity, watched roughly the way other countries watch a thermostat. The enemy is schimmel, mold. Once indoor air gets damp enough, cold surfaces in the corners start growing it, and mold in a German rental is not a cleaning problem. It is a legal event, with letters. Nothing motivates ventilation quite like correspondence. Insulation, Dämmung, is treated as infrastructure rather than an upgrade. Walls, roof, cellar ceiling, and glazing with 2 or 3 panes as the ordinary standard. It is expensive, disruptive, and it is the reason the other 9 habits work at all. Ventilating a badly insulated house is bailing out a boat with a colander. Passive house gets the headlines, and almost nobody actually lives in one. It is the unglamorous, ordinary renovation that does the real work. Once a year, a letter arrives, the Nebenkostenabrechnung, your annual heating and utilities reckoning, itemized, set against what you already paid in advance. You either get money back or you owe it, in one lump, in one envelope, and it goes both ways, which is what makes every other habit on this list legible. The closed door and the 5-minute airing are not abstract virtue. They are a number that arrives in the post. Nothing sharpens behavior like an annual invoice you cannot argue with. And the last one is not really a habit. In a great many German leases, ventilating the flat is a contractual obligation, not advice, a clause. Fail to air the rooms, grow mold, and the damage can end up being yours to pay for. German courts have spent decades arguing over how many times a day counts as reasonable, which is the whole pattern in one document. The country did not ask people to be diligent. It wrote the diligence into the paperwork and let everyone be as forgetful as everyone else. Look at the 10 together, and not one of them depends on you being tougher than anybody else. The shutters do the work at dusk. The lease does the remembering. The annual bill does the arguing. These habits survive because the building, the contract, and the calendar carry them, not because Germans are better at willpower than the rest of us. If you want more of how Germany quietly solved things the rest of us are still arguing about, subscribe. And tonight, before bed, open the window all the way for 5 minutes and then shut it. Report back